But anyone who dares stand in the way of that social affirmation of me and my relationships has to be silenced. Furthermore, redefining marriage, same-sex marriage in many ways, is a legal fiction. It doesn't really exist in anything but the law. It's not a natural component of human society. Marriage is a pre-political institution. It predates government. Government has no right to redefine marriage, none whatsoever. Government has a responsibility to support those things that are good in civil society, but it has no right to redefine marriage. Because same-sex marriage is a legal fiction. But in creating this legal fiction, if the government does go ahead and try to redefine marriage, the equivalent of saying that a dog has 5 legs, when we know a dog has 4 legs in reality, what does it use to enforce this legal fiction? Well, it uses law and education. And when it uses law and education, there will be profound consequences for everyone. So we say, how does my gay marriage affect your marriage? Or how does redefining marriage affect me? People always want to know how it hits the bottom line, right? We have a problem in our culture thinking in terms of the social order, the well-being of the common good. It's always all about me. So how does it affect me? Well, it's going to affect everyone. Because when the state creates this legal fiction, when it redefines marriage, it has to use education and the law to enforce this new orthodoxy. So for evidence of how this works, we can look to our neighbors in the north in Canada, where they have redefined marriage. In the province of Quebec, the province of Quebec is undertaking a massive re-education in its schools to eradicate instances of what it calls heteronormativity. This idea that there's inherent differences in our genders, that people have gender roles, there are social roles for the sexes. There is such a thing as the sexes, really. Eradicate these gender biases in our society. Now, we know that men and women are complementary. They complete each other. The truth is written in our bodies. We're made for each other, right? Now, what are the consequences of saying that gender and sex roles, they don't matter? Well, I don't need to go into that. I think you can figure that out. But what consequences will that have in our society? And what we know in Massachusetts, when this sort of education has happened after they've redefined marriage in their court, that parents will not have the ability to object. So if you want to pull your kid out of school and not have them listen to this propaganda, nope, sorry. So if you go to pull your kid out, what can they do? Can they arrest you? Yep, they can arrest you just like they did to the father in Massachusetts. Tolerance is not enough. You must approve or else. What are the other legal consequences of it? Well, besides the educational front, groups like Catholic Charities, for instance, who participate in government contracts to allow adoptions, will have to pull out of those adoption services if they refuse to provide, put children in the homes of same-sex couples. Anti-discrimination laws are really the primary flashpoint. In many ways, the case in New Mexico where a wedding photographer who refused to photograph a same-sex ceremony and was punished and fined by the Human Rights Commission there, I think that's pretty instructive, right? Now, the other side will say, well, those are human rights laws or anti-discrimination laws. They have nothing to do with marriage. Well, that's a silly and sort of disingenuous argument, because what redefining marriage will do is completely ramp up anti-discrimination laws and give them a whole new face. Because, again, you've established the social equality and political equality of a whole new class of relationships. So this will have profound consequences on a number of fronts. If you're a business who provides spousal benefits in healthcare, for example, well, now, if you redefine marriage, you'll have to be providing spousal benefits to all spouses, even if they're the same sex or not. And so what will many businesses do in that situation? Either violate my conscience or just stop providing healthcare benefits, right? So there are a number of consequences on various fronts of this new legal orthodoxy, and this, in many ways, is what we are standing against. The naysayers will say we're wasting time and resources, that this is that the outcome of this battle has already been determined, and so at this point you should probably just give up and go home. And unfortunately, that message is having a lot of effect. People are saying, we can't win, this battle's lost. We're 13 months out in this election. The battle's lost. The battle's over. I think this is crazy, but this is the sentiment in the public on this issue. Just to give you some perspective, in every state where a marriage amendment has been on the ballot, it's passed. Anytime marriage has gone to the people have preserved marriage. There's tremendous cause for hope. In California, for example, the marriage amendment there passed, Prop 8 passed, 53% of the population supported marriage. 65% of Catholics in California supported marriage and supported Prop 8. So that can make a big difference. We shouldn't lose hope. There's plenty of time. We will, in fact, win this marriage amendment, but we've got to do it. And I think today it's a great opportunity to be in front of you today because it is the first feast of Blessed John Paul II. And of course, Blessed John Paul II's mantra was, "Be not afraid." And there is a lot of fear out there about this issue. A lot of fear. And we've got to get over the fear. People are afraid because they don't have all the answers. They're afraid because they don't want to be called bigots. They don't want to be called haters. They don't want to be stigmatized in their workplaces. And that's certainly understandable. But on some level, this is, again, a civilizational defining moment. And defending marriage, this vital institution of society, this core institution of society, is the cost of discipleship. This is what it means to be a disciple, is to stand up for truth, even when it's unpopular, even when truth is out of season. This is the cost of discipleship. So what does your participation look like? How can you, just as one person, be involved in this issue? The first thing is prayer, right? We have two things on our side. We have prayer, the power of prayer, and we have the power of truth. And one word of truth can conquer 1 million lies. We have the power of truth on our side, but we've got to get over our fear. And we've got to participate on this core issue. All of us as a church needs to stand for truth, because we have the numbers on our side. The other side is better funded, better organized, at least right now, and louder. They've got people in the media, in the commanding heights of the culture and academics and the business world, et cetera, et cetera. But we have truth and we have the people. But it's our job to get out there and share this truth with people, help them get over their fear, connect with each other. There are so many folks out there that who know, just as surely as the sun rises in the east, marriage is between one man and one woman. They know it in their gut because it's true. It's the truth written on the human heart. But the media and everyone else is constantly telling them what you know to be true in your gut is really just prejudice and bigotry. Or they think it's taking away someone's rights. They're buying into all these misconceptions. So it's our job to go out to the people, to educate ourselves, to become advocates for marriage, to create a network for marriage, to show that we are Minnesotans for marriage, and that there are other people like them, that this is not bigotry, this is not discrimination, and that marriage is a vital social good, and it's worth protecting, and it's worth defending. So how can we do it? Prayer. Prayer and fasting, the key. Pray that rosary. Ask for the intercession of the Holy Family. Jesus grew up in a concrete family. He was given a mother and a father for a reason. Because kids need moms and dads. Even Jesus needed a mom and a dad. Family structure matters. So we need to pray. We need to pray. Then we need to educate ourselves. We need to educate ourselves to become advocates, to defend this truth. We need to go out in our parishes, around our water coolers, in our families, even if that conversation can be difficult. And we have to speak truth in love. We have to speak the truth, and we have to have tender hearts of mercy. Because this is a culture that chews people up and spits them out. So whenever we speak about marriage, we have to speak the truth in love. But we still have to speak the truth, even when it's uncomfortable and even when it's not in season. The third thing we've got to do the nuts and bolts things that win a political campaign. At the end of the day, what we're engaged in right now is a political campaign. And people say, oh, the church is getting into politics. You're darn tootin' it's getting into politics. Absolutely, this is political. Political, the word political has its root in the Greek word polis, the city. We're defending the health of the city. Oh, this type of thing shouldn't be in our Constitution. Of course it should be in our Constitution. That's what constitutions are for, to provide the constitutive principles of any society. This is exactly the type of thing that should be in a Constitution. But we need to go out and put that into the Constitution, and that means being activist citizens. Now, not everyone's has the time or the ability to go out and do door knocking, to lick envelopes, to do data entry, to make the phone calls. But people have different gifts. And it's our responsibility to find where our gifts lay. Maybe that's our financial resources. I say financial resources because it takes money to speak in a democracy, and we need to speak. So we can support our efforts with our financial resources. Some people are in their homes, they're shut-ins, but can they pray? Absolutely. Some people have the time and the know-how to engage in grassroots organization, and we've got to do it. We've got to meet the challenges of our times, and we've got to use our gifts, and whatever those may be, to in fact meet those challenges. Again, this is the cost of discipleship. We can take great heart in our leaders, the bishops of this state, and the bishops around the country, who are fully engaged on this issue, who are going to line, who have put themselves in the front of the battle to defend marriage. We can be heartened by their leadership. I certainly understand that we cannot expect people to go out and be leaders on this issue, to be advocates, if we as a church, as the institutional church, do not do it ourselves. And what I can tell you and assure you is that our bishops are committed to this issue. They are passionate about this issue. They believe with their deepest fiber of their being in the importance of marriage, and are putting the resources at stake, and they're putting them on the line to get this thing done. And they need your cooperation to do so. So my plea to you today is to join with your bishops, join together as a church to defend the vital institution of marriage in our society, the cornerstone institution of our society, that is marriage. This is a great time and a great opportunity to come together as the body of Christ, to be that voice of conscience in our public arena, to defend this institution. Today, I brought with us is our wonderful outreach coordinator at the Minnesota Catholic Conference, Kathy Deeds. Where's Kathy? Yay, Kathy. There's Kathy. Kathy is here, and she has opportunities for how you can get involved. The easiest thing you can do to get involved, there are a couple things. First of all, to sign up for our grassroots outreach efforts through the Minnesota Catholic Conference and the Minnesota for Marriage campaign. The Minnesota for Marriage campaign is the campaign that the Catholic Conference is helping to sponsor to pass this ballot initiative in November 2012. Minnesota for Marriage, minnesotaformarriage.com, we have some literature there. I encourage you to sign up. We send out weekly emails that discuss this issue, give you some basic apologetics points, share with you how you can get involved. I encourage you, I ask you, I beg you, please put your name down on one of these cards and leave it with us today. It's very important. Second thing you can do is educate yourself on this issue. You know, I think people are nervous because they don't always have the tools to answer the questions they need. Well, I'll tell you right now, we're here to give you those tools. And we've brought some of those tools today. The one is, for instance, we've given you a little brochure called 77 Non-Religious Reasons to Promote Man-Woman Marriage. Basic reasons. This is helpful. Minnesota Catholic Conference has created a marriage amendment resource page where you can go and see videos, op-eds, all kinds of little apologetics points you can use to educate yourself about this issue. We're creating a blog that's going to go live next week with a great team of about 20 writers. And we're looking for more in some instances too. So if you've got something interesting you'd like to share, please let us know. Creating a blog to have rapid, on-the-spot resources to the issues as they arise from different perspectives, people with different backgrounds. You know, how does this issue affect me? Why do kids need a mom and a dad, et cetera, et cetera. So we're going to be creating the tools and giving you the tools and the resources to do so, whatever you need. So I encourage you and I ask you to pray for this issue, the success of this initiative, educate yourself, and become an advocate. We're here to help you do that. So with that, I know couldn't ever possibly fill Father Altier's shoes today, but I thank you for your attention. I appreciate your prayers and support, and I ask the Lord to bless you all in your endeavors. Thank you very much.